Blog Talk Radio.
Hi, and welcome to Conscious Talk Radio, and I'm your host, Linda Summers, and we've got another great show for you today. Our topic is energy work, why it is so effective and necessary with Vicki Murphy. And before we bring Vicki on board, I want to give you a little bit of background information about her. She has a BFA and has worked doing custom and internationally for over 30 years. Custom art internationally for over 30 years, She's a certified psychic medium and a certified Reiki master, teacher, practitioner. She's only created careers, jobs that she's loved: lifeguard, ski supervisor, flight attendant, which she was on Delta, and psychic medium, intuitive coach, to name a few. She loves working with children and has been very involved as her child has been going through school, PTO president for 2 years during middle school, and her parents were world travelers as she was born in Saigon. And then, wow, that's pretty interesting. So with that, I'd like to welcome Vicki to the show. Hi, Vicki.
Hi, Linda. How are you?
Great. How are you?
Doing fine. Thanks. I'm excited to talk to you and be on the show today.
Yes, and so many facets that you do. And I know that a long time ago, a lot of years ago, I don't know how many years ago, that I worked with you. And you did some medium work for me. So we've known each other for quite a long time. And you just have a really variety with the custom art, doing that internationally for over 30 years. And I knew you had done some art. So you're a very busy person. Yeah, you've got some great stuff going on.
It's interesting, how everything transpired and, brought me to this place. And the art was a very important part of my life. I did that, again, for over 30 years, working internationally, creating one-of-a-kind art. During that time, when I met my husband, and we were working in the studio creating, he turned to me and he said, "What are you doing?" Because I was talking out loud. And I was talking about a composition, and I was talking to my guides and my angelic realm, and I just thought that was normal. And so, a lot of that artwork that I did was channeled, and part of the conversations I would have around that was, in conjunction with my angelic realm and mediumship as well, because a lot of people on the other side really miss the physical abilities. Being in the physical body here allows us to create, and so it was a little combination, and we were having a great time. It was really fun. It was a great,
wow, I love that.
Great time.
Well, and I think energy work, as we talked a little bit, that there's so much to be said for that. As we mentioned a little bit before the show started, that I feel that this is a great avenue for people to be able to get this guidance through energy work and through mediumship, and to be able to, they get kind of stuck, right? And it's to figure out, wow, how can I become unstuck? How can I move in this journey where there's just other avenues that we can't go to? So I think this is great. So I'd like to really kind of talk about that. Why is it so effective and so necessary in order to create what we want?
It is an amazing thing that's coming to light scientifically. We're finding more and more proof about this. But we are energy bodies. We are a molecular structure and the molecules are vibrating at a certain frequency. And then we've discovered that we're beyond this, physical being. We have energetic bodies as well, auric bodies, etc. And when an energy blockage occurs within the body, it can create anything from a physical symptom to a symptom of us not being able to move forward in our life. For instance, you can study with all the top coaches and gurus and still may not be able to have those breakthroughs. You still may not be able to create what you want if you have a blockage. So if you're struggling and saying that this way of teaching doesn't work, but see that it's working for others, then most likely you have an energy blockage. And I want to talk about what, that is. And before we even talk about what a blockage is, I want to talk about the study that Dr. Emoto did, and a lot of people are familiar with that. Have you heard of it?
Yes, I have. Amazing.
Isn't it amazing? It's a study, for those that don't know, it's the study of energy and the effects that it has on water. And what he did is he sent love to bottles of water, and then to other bottles of water he would send hate, and he had students helping him with this. And some would be surrounded with the energy frequency of Mozart and beautiful classical vibrational frequencies, and then others he exposed to heavy metal, and then he froze all the bottles. And then they examined the structure of the frozen water. And what they found was the molecular structure varied drastically. So imagine, the beautiful crystalline structures that formed with the bottles that were given love or classical music were completely different than those structures that were broken and jagged and malformed for the bottles that were flowed hate and low-frequency energy. So knowing that, we have a lot of water in our body, but even beyond that, our cellular molecular structure is affected by energy in the same way.
Which would really tie into if what we're speaking to ourselves, because we're made up of I think it's 75%, I don't know the percentage, but pretty much a lot of water, right? So if we're speaking to ourselves with a negative, that's really going to put an effect on our energy within ourselves and the structure within ourselves as well, and causing dis-ease in our body, I would imagine.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's one of the things that I do teach and I cover while I'm doing sessions. When I pick that up, that energy, and, I'm communing with angelic realm energies, angels, etc., who are helping give very specific information. But when we come across that in particular where people are maybe holding the vibration of angst toward themselves in a negative or low frequency way of speaking to yourself, calling yourself stupid for things that you perceive as mistakes, etc., it has a huge impact on your body. And if you feel in, your youth that maybe you weren't loved enough or not supported, holding that frequency within your physical body can actually create symptoms in your physical body. And I always liken it to creating mutations. Vibrationally, it creates mutations in your cell structure, much like what we saw in Dr. Emoto's studies. So you can create disease that way.
Exactly.
So it's really important to clear those energies. And in order to do that, you have to find not just what triggered it here in this life, right? But where it came from, the origin, and those are usually in past lives.
That's my next question.
And so, it's a really interesting thing to see the way it gets laid out energetically. I'm very visual, so I get a lot of visuals, almost like little movies and or visions that are shown to me that show me where the energy is within the body, where it's being held. And inevitably somebody can walk in and not tell me anything, and I can see where the frequency has been maladjusted, where it's lower and where it's creating blockages within their body.
And then how do you I guess the one I want to say is the word is get rid of the blockages. How do you unblock those? Is it just
Yeah, it's a great question. What I do is when I'm sitting with somebody, I always say, I'm just a mouthpiece. I'm the conduit, and I join forces with those on the other side to go through a series of healing type support, clearings, and then infusions. And so during that process, depending on, what's going on and who it is, we'll go in, and after we identify a trigger here in this life, they have to go through a process of forgiveness. Because it's important for people to understand that when I say triggers, we don't blame those. For instance, say it's a parent that somehow triggered by either verbal abuse or maybe it was abandonment. We don't blame our parents. They're part of our soulmate group, and we very specifically, as loving soulmates, come forth here to put karmic challenges in place. It allows us to make a choice around that challenge, right? We can choose to stay stuck in the energy and say, well, because I was abandoned, I'm in fear of being hurt that bad ever again, so I'm never going to get close to anybody. Or we can use it as a platform for growth. So after we go through that and go through a lot of forgiveness, then we want to move beyond that place to look at where it is, where it's originating from. You know, if you had, and here's a great example. I'll use the medical example that I was talking to you about prior.
Yeah,
that is one of my favorite stories, and I've worked with a lot of people in the medical profession, and this one in particular had a debilitating pain, and they searched for a cause medically and couldn't find it, and this is over a course of years. And when I was able to work with this person, we looked back and we found, and it was in the jaw area, and we found that this person had been struck in a former life, in a past life, across the face with a blunt object. So it was blunt force trauma. And although that trauma didn't cause death, the infection that ensued did. And it caused all kinds of other symptoms. When I was able to locate that and we were able to clear it, and then we were able to get information from Spirit about what they needed to do, and we went through the process, guiding me and guiding her through the process, the pain went away.
Amazing. So do you find this is a question, so do you feel that people can find it difficult to believe in that or to let go of certain things? I mean, as I would imagine if somebody's in really a lot of pain that they're going to be like, okay, anything I can do to get out of this. But so do you find where your clients can be resistant to that?
Here's what I've set up intention-wise while doing this work. I really call forth the people that are ready, willing, and able to learn. And those are the people that I, attract to me, to this practice. Those that are having resistance usually are not going to have the same results. And for those, I use a lot of science studies to help them create a little bit more of a flexible attitude so they can allow for their healing. But until somebody is really ready, they're not ready. And also, I set a very clear intention as well about it being for the greatest good of the person and their soul's journey.
Right.
If they're needing to learn something from a certain situation, it may not be time to remove that situation yet until they've learned that lesson. But we also are getting information about what they are supposed to be learning, and that can help facilitate a quicker path, to learn that lesson.
Absolutely. I love that. And I love the fact that because you mentioned working with medical professionals, do you feel that we're starting to see the medical profession starting to shift in this direction of using energy work? Because if you're working with them, it seems that there is this shift that's happening, that they're realizing, hey, there's more to this than just this, just the typical Western medical.
Yeah, there's a huge shift right now. And it started years ago. Look at Dr. Weiss and some of the others that have come forth and changed their direction within within their medical careers to encompass energy as well. Currently, I work with a lot of cancer patients, and when I'm doing that, I'm using a lot of not just Reiki, because I am master Reiki practitioner, but I'm seeing that in the medical profession. They are starting to allow for energy workers to come forth and practice Reiki in certain situations and circumstances. And not all medical professionals and not all hospitals, but it is becoming more prevalent. So I use Reiki along with multiple modality healing. It's a little bit broader, and I find that for me as a practitioner is a little more effective. But I am seeing doors open and opportunities. They are incorporating meditation more, and that is energy work. When you're going into state of meditation, you're changing your brainwave frequency, and it's necessary often to support your body in healing. So there are a lot of,
Well, it's kind of like acupuncture or chiropractic when it first, came out, and people were like, and it just really didn't get into the mainstream, and now it really is. It's really up there. Insurance companies are, now taking that. So I would imagine that this is, coming into these new energies in this age of Aquarius, things are going to be very, very different, that we're going to see a lot more of what you're doing in this energy work and really assisting people. I mean, that's incredible with people with cancer. I mean, different illnesses. That's amazing because we hold on to so much from the time that we're little, and through our own journey that we don't even realize. Like that medical professional that you helped, who would have thought,
Yeah. It's really amazing. And again, there's a lot more scientific proof available now. So that's really helping those in my profession that are using Reiki and other modalities, to help support the body in its ability to heal. And I always say, the cells have and hold intelligent energy frequency. They know how to heal. That's why when we cut ourselves, we heal.
Right.
Well, why would that frequency not be present throughout the rest of our cellular biology? It is.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we just have to remove the blockages.
We have to what?
Just have to remove the blockages.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I want to talk about children, too, because you mentioned children being born at higher frequencies. So can you kind of elaborate on that and what you mean by that and how that is really shifting where we're at and what that really looks like and what it means?
Yes. What I am seeing and the client base also that I'm working with, a lot of parents, and I'm working with a lot of their children, what we're seeing is children whose brains are wired differently than ours. They are coming forth at a higher frequency. And because of this, a lot of them are more telepathic. And here's a great example. I teach intuitive development to adults and children. And it's important for the children because they are coming forth with incredible abilities to access energy and to see things dimensionally, and it can be frightening because of our cultural standards. And so I teach them not to be afraid. And I had, in the class, I used a regular deck of cards to demonstrate telepathy, which is really dimensional access to our thoughts, right? I had kids be able to, a whole deck, be able to tell me as I was the sender of the information. In other words, I was the one looking at the card, but they couldn't see it. They could guess the whole deck correct.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, my gosh, that's incredible. How amazing. Wow.
So that being said, they are being they're having difficulty in the school systems because the way of teaching is antiquated. It doesn't work for them. And so many parents are also suffering through labels. Their kids are being labeled, and whether it's autism or Asperger's or ADD or ADHD, I ask everybody to look twice at that. And same with the labels of indigo and crystal and rainbow children. Not one label fits these really unique souls that are coming forth. And it's on purpose that they're coming forth right now. We're going through a big shift planet-wide, and this is universal, where we're coming up in frequency. And even though it looks ugly right now, and it'll probably look uglier over the next years, it's going to lead us to world peace.
How do you determine that you feel that'll lead us to world peace? Is this something that your guides have been giving you as well?
Yes. it's necessary. They keep telling me it's necessary to walk through this energy right now and to go through this. And for this shift to occur, these children have started to come forth at a higher frequency and higher, taking us to and through and into that next technological age, which, is associated with the age of Aquarius. And it's all about, it's going to be huge advanced growth within those industries, technologically, medically, and medical technology. Energy is going to be huge, meaning fossil fuels will not be the only energy that we use. It's just going to be amazing. They're brighter. They see things differently. Their brains work more quickly, and they have access to dimensional information much more easily and more so than we do.
Wow. So they're different than the Indigos and the Star Kids, is what you're saying. This is very different. This is a very different group of children.
What I'm saying about the Indigos, Star Kids, crystals, rainbows, all of those labels is not one label. Really, I've had so many parents say, well, I read that, and I read this, and I read that, and my child, is one part this, one part that, one part, and I said, that's perfect. Because those labels are just in place to help us start to understand that there is a difference in those children. But, they don't really fit each child because each one of them are so incredibly unique. And that's that quantum physics, much like snowflakes. Think of them all as beautiful snowflakes. They are all so different.
True. That's so true. So when you talk about higher frequency, for the listeners who are really not familiar with what you mean by that, can you kind of give us an explanation of what you mean by the higher frequency?
Sure. I think the easiest way to explain it is when we think of a radio frequency, and if you've ever seen it drawn out on paper, it's waves. And if the waves are not as wavy, maybe less wavy and not as close together, it's a different sound that it would produce and a different frequency, which is the vibration that it would make, than, say, a wave or frequency that has a lot of ups and downs, really extended, and then waves that are much closer together. Those different frequencies, okay? So that's an illustration. So when you're sending love, it's a frequency of healing, right? And it's flowing through your body, and it's soothing. And another illustration is when you're angry, that energy flowing through your body. Say somebody cuts you off, and you go, momentarily to the dark side, and you're angry. You're feeling the difference. You can feel the difference. Your heart may race, and so that's the best way I can explain it, what frequency is.
Yeah, I love that. So these kids are having this much more faster, closer wave of frequency that are being born today. I love that.
Right.
Now, so
they're more sensitive.
And more tapped in, turned on, and tuned into the universe, I'm sure, absolutely. They're really tapped in. Do you bring any of this, speaking of kids, because of your child and you working really with the school and stuff like that, do you bring a lot of this information into the school? Are they receptive to that?
The people that I work with are. When I originally started, I kept everything kind of on the down low because there's a lot of resistance, or there was. Not so much now. It's kind of changing, thankfully. But there was a lot of resistance to this type of information. And so I was very careful who I shared it with. That has changed a great deal. Again, thanks to science and all of the studies about how energy is affected by, frequency and et cetera. And so I share it, but I share it in a mainstream way so that it can be used rather than discarded as something that they don't understand.
Right.
And, but there are definitely, I'm very, very interested in helping to change the educational system.
That's
and
awesome.
I can see at some point in time that through shows like yours and other, ways of spreading this information, we will be creating that change.
Absolutely, just in the conversation of it. So do you have any events or anything that's going on right now, some workshops? You had mentioned you have, I think, an event that's going on tonight.
I do, actually, and I'm super excited about this one. It is in Solana Beach. It's on Cedros. It's going to be at the David Allen Gallery, and I believe it's sold out. But the interest, and we'll be doing it again at different galleries. What I'm doing is I'm going in and I'm reading the energy of the art, and then I'm demonstrating how that energy affects you physically, again, because energy in art has a frequency. Everything's got a molecular structure, and the molecules are vibrating at a certain rate of speed, and that's what gives it a mass. Okay, and that's Einstein's theory, right? So the energy of that piece affects your body, and that's why, hospitals and et cetera have very healing types of artwork. And you can use artwork, and this is another part of what I'm going to talk about. You can use artwork to create realities in your space at home or in your body, surrounding yourself with certain and specific vibrational parts of the art, whether it be in color or content or another part of the dynamic aspect of the art, will help you support what you want to create in your environment and or your physical body.
Oh, wow, I love that. That is amazing. It's really cool.
Yeah, it's really a part of our industry that hasn't been explored that much. And so because I am an artist and it's near and dear to my heart as well as an energy worker, the combination of the two is really important to understand for people. So I'm thrilled that we're doing this, and we are definitely going to be growing this part of our practice.
I love that. Well, I love the combination of the art and the energy, and just reading that and just really surrounding yourself. I would have never thought about that. But when you think about it, does how you decorate your house, your interior, does how it makes you feel. You can kind of see how that would be, how you're drawn to certain pieces of art. So if it's sold out, can people not attend or? If you get on Facebook and you're in the area and you really, really want to attend, what I would do, this one may be sold out. I have somebody that helps plan my events, and, we will talk about that. But what we will be doing is talking about doing the next one, and if they want in on that, I would definitely put them on the list, top of the list. The other event that's coming up that isn't sold out yet is December 10th, and we're doing a Reiki energy circle plus messages. Oh, wow. I love that.
Yeah, and now that'll be kind of a demonstration.
Okay, that'll be on Facebook, because we'll have all your information as well on the video, too, how they can contact you. So will that be also on Facebook? We'll have your Facebook page as well.
Yeah, that will be on Facebook. We always send out little blurbs. But I do urge them to contact me and get on the email list, because we have what's your color coming up, or what color are you rather, and angel drawing, and meet your spirit guides, and a whole bunch of really cool events.
I love that. And I want to mention, too, that for anybody, Vicki's story, I just authored a book, Real People, Real Passion, inspiring stories of people who are making a difference in the world. And your story is amazing. And so for people who are interested in that, you can go to Amazon.com and look for Real People, Real Passion. And you'll have that information, because I'll send you the links to that as well, so you can put that on your Facebook page and your web page as well. But so her story, her full story of how she really began and where she started and how she got to what she's doing is in the book. So you'll want to read this. And thank you so much. Really appreciate you.
Well, thank you, Linda.
It's just been, like I said, I find it, this is such a great way for people to unblock and move in their journey in a way that people really don't know that there's another option. And so, so thank you so much for being on the show today. We really appreciate it.
Oh, well, thank you. And thanks so much for putting me in your book. I'm really excited about that. And for this show, this is the way we are working together to reach people. So thank you. I appreciated it.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you so much. And thank you for all the listeners who joined us today and the ones who will be joining us via YouTube. We thank you so much. All of her information will be on the video, and you can contact her through that as well. So please don't forget to follow, subscribe, comment, and like us. And you can join me December 3rd is the next show. So happy Thanksgiving to everyone between now and then. And the next show will be Astrology, the Practical, Mental, Emotional, and Spiritual Elements with Uga Badera. So again, thank you, Vicki, so much for being on the show today. It was just awesome, and I appreciate what you're doing out in the world and helping people and moving our medical industry into, really a very conscious way. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Happy Thanksgiving to you, too.
All right, thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye.